It's Tuesday, October 8th, and time for the meeting of the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County. We're going to begin with a moment of silent reflection for our first responders, followed by an invocation by Pastor Terry Alderton, Associate Pastor of Lakeside Fellowship Church, and then the Pledge of Allegiance, which I will lead today. Please rise.
Gracious Father, thank you for the privilege of being able to meet this morning. May you grant these men and women wisdom, guidance, Father, to direct the affairs of our community. May you bless their families, keep them safe and healthy, Father. Help us to make decisions that honor you and bless the citizens of this county. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? There being none, be happy to get a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Move approval.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Fleischer, second by Commissioner Adams. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. 4-0 with Commissioner O'Brien absent. We now move on to proclamations and presentations. We have a proclamation honoring National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And Nancy Hode of Safe Space is to receive.
Actually, it would be me.
Oh, good morning. And Commissioner Zork will read it.
Good morning. I'll read the proclamation. If you'd like to share a few words afterwards, that would be great.
That's great.
This is a proclamation honoring the month of October 2019 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Whereas each day in America, 4 women are murdered by their intimate partners. And whereas each day in America, an average of 20 people every minute are abused by their intimate partners. Whereas 1 in 3 American women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of intimate partner violence. And whereas National Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides all Americans the opportunity to recommit to ensuring that every relationship be violence-free. And whereas in Indian River County, Safe Space Incorporated joins forces with law enforcement, victim service providers, criminal justice officials, social service organizations, and concerned citizens to fight domestic violence and to provide all domestic violence victims a safe place where they can live with respect, resources, restoration, and justice. Together, their commitment and compassion help to ensure that our community steps forward to support domestic violence victims in need. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners that the Board recognizes and honors the month of October 2019 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and furthermore expresses our sincere appreciation to those committed to promoting peace and preventing domestic violence in our community, adopted this 8th day of October 2019, signed by all 5 county commissioners. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. On behalf of the Safe Space staff, of the Board of Directors, and most importantly, the victims and children whose lives we save and change every day, I'd like to extend our sincere thanks to the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County for recognizing October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This is an especially important and special time for us. We are celebrating 40 years of providing this service in the community. We started here in Indian River County. Of course, now we serve St. Lucie and Martin as well. So 40 years. Last year, there were 2,564 incidents of domestic violence in our 3-county service area. And 549 of those reported incidents occurred here in Indian River County, almost 2 per day. And we know that reporting numbers are low, that perhaps there are 2 or 3 times as many incidents as are reported. Safe Space is the Treasure Coast only certified domestic violence center and the ultimate safety net for victims and their children in our local community. We provide safety, support, and education through emergency shelter and supportive living programs, a 24/7 crisis hotline, and extensive non-shelter services, including prevention, legal assistance, and financial literacy. Safe Space is an educational resource and an advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves. We are dedicated to saving and changing lives and serving the community, offering hope, healing, and change to all those who seek our services. Since our inception in 1979, and I'd like you to listen closely, Safe Space has provided over 500,000 safe nights, over 500,000 safe nights to women and children who've had to flee their homes because of violence. And that's to 40,000 victims in the 3 counties. And just last year, we served 4,700 victims and children through emergency shelter and non-shelter, and provided 16,000 safe nights. As of tonight, last night, there were 44 women and children in our shelter, and that number usually varies between 40 and our maximum of about 60. Safe Space helps victims become survivors by finding the courage to leave and giving them the empowerment to survive. We need to understand that domestic violence is a crime. It doesn't happen because of anger, substance abuse, or stress. It's simply one partner in an intimate relationship exerting power and influence and control over the other. The Treasure Coast is most fortunate to have a program like Safe Space, a program that's generally regarded as having the most comprehensive continuum of care for domestic violence victims of any in the state of Florida. And what we do is only possible for a number of reasons. One is our community support, and I'd certainly like to thank the extraordinary support over the years of the United Way of Indian River County, the Indian River, the Johns Island Service League and Foundation, Grand Harbor Community Outreach, the Indian River Community Foundation, and then just individuals in the community. Sheriff Law has been so very supportive, as has Jeff Smith and Clerk of Courts. I have a couple of board members with us. They are the wind beneath our wings. They're the people who provide due diligence, keep us on mission, provide financial resources for us, always looking to improve us and hold our feet to the fire to make sure we do the right thing. Who we have here is Eric Flowers, I think well known to you. Eric is a current board member and a past chair. Gregory John Burke is a board member. Linda Henger is a board member and a past chair as well. Others in the community that serve us are Tony Abraham, Richard Boga, Anita Calabro, and Tiffany Calabro. So we are well represented as a 3-county organization with Indian River County oversight. So we thank you very much for this recognition today. It's important that people understand how common this is and how important the services Safe Space provides. So we'd like to get our proclamation. Would that be okay?
Sure.
And Greg. Tommy,
How are you? Say it's not so.
Outstanding. Well, somebody's got to do it.
Stand on his back.
I need a stool.
Okay.
We do have one more proclamation, but one of the women who is going to receive it had a little car trouble, so we're going to hold off on that one and go through the rest of the, but I thought you mentioned Jeannie Brissett.
Jeannie was coming. Is she gonna make it?
Je-
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's hard to see from here. Or up here.
Sharon, are you here for this? You can give us some support. And this proclamation is for designating the day of October 12, 2019 as Breast Cancer Awareness Wear Pink Day in Indian River County. Commissioner Adams will present the proclamation. Commissioner Adams.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to read a proclamation designating the day of October 12th, 2019 as Breast Cancer Awareness Wear Pink Day in Indian River County. Whereas breast cancer is a malignant tumor that starts in the cells of the breast that can grow into and invade surrounding tissues or spread, metastasize to distant areas of the body. And whereas the disease occurs almost entirely in women, but men can get it too. 1 in 8 U.S. women, about 12%, will develop invasive breast cancer over the course of their lifetime. A man's lifetime risk of breast cancer is about 1 in 1,000. And whereas, in 2019, an estimated 268,000 new cases of invasive breast cancer are expected to be diagnosed in women in the U.S., and about 2,670 new cases of invasive breast cancer are expected to be diagnosed in men in 2019. And whereas, for women in the U.S., breast cancer death rates are higher than those for any other cancer besides lung cancer. About 41,760 women in the U.S. are expected to die in 2019 from breast cancer, though death rates have declined by 40% since 1991. Women under 50 have experienced larger decreases. These decreases are thought to be a result of treatment advances, earlier detection through screening, and increased awareness. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners, Indian River County, Florida, that the Board does hereby designate the day of October 12th, 2019 as Breast Cancer Awareness Wear Pink Day in Indian River County, to continue increased public awareness of breast cancer and to promote research for treatment and a cure. Adopted this 8th day of October 2019 and signed by all 5 county commissioners. Welcome, ladies.
Good morning. No? Okay. All right. Hello. My name is Jenny Davis. I am the Community Development Manager for Indian River County on behalf of the American Cancer Society. Thank you all so much for giving us the proclamation. Breast cancer detected early has a 99% survival rate. So if you get your mammograms and your cancer screenings, you can get it. It's important to do that. So that's why October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, to have a little friendly reminder. In the United States, breast cancer death rates has declined by 40% since 1991. That's incredible, but we still have a lot to do. So we hope that you all will join us on this Saturday, October 12th at Riverside Park for our 15th annual Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, where we can honor, celebrate, remember those that we have lost to breast cancer and fight back against this horrible disease. And don't forget to wear your pink on Saturday. Ladies, would you like to say anything? No? And behind me, we have breast cancer survivors. And would you like to introduce yourself? Okay.
Carmen Bedell, Community Services.
Sharon Shell, retired.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay.
Hey, Jenny. How you doing? So long. Sorry. That's okay.
Coordinated your hair with your
Good morning. Okay.
We have only one information item. Does anybody care to pull it? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Would any commissioner wish to pull anything from the consent agenda? There being none, I'll ask if there's anybody in the audience who'd like to pull something from the consent agenda for discussion. There being none, be happy to get a motion to approve, which we have from Commissioner Flesher, seconded by Commissioner Adams. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0. Commissioner O'Brien absent. We now move on to Commissioners' Open Dialogue. We'll start today with Commissioner Zork.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Following our meeting last week, our joint Tri-County Commission meeting down in St. Lucie County, I was able to talk with some of the representatives from St. Lucie County who said they will be sending up the initial packets for any local businesses that are looking to become part of the forward trade zone. This has been a long journey to get to this point, and obviously started with the early days of Kate Cotner, but the staff and the commission at St. Lucie County and Martin County all played a role in moving this forward. So as soon as I have those, I have a number of businesses on a list that are wanting to become some of the early applicants of their foreign trade subzone, and it's going to be a great opportunity for local businesses to streamline and reduce their costs if they receive or send any international goods via a container shipment. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Adams.
Sure, thank you. Just wanted to thank Public Works and Recreation. They've gotten our float ready to go for the Centennial Parade. And for those of you that might be able to be on the float, please let us know. We are having commissioners past and present, but it'll be fun. We are towards the beginning of the parade, if that's more enticing. As I understand, there's lots of people in the parade, so we're kind of at the beginning, so it's not as long. So thank you to the City of Vero Beach for that. But the other thing I wanted to go over is a follow-up again from our Tri-County Legislative meeting. There was a question regarding Walton County's application for a new estuary designation. I have reached out to Dr. DeFreeze at the IRL NEP just to see how that might affect funding and if that is a federal versus state designation. So once we get a firm answer on that, we'll update staff and the other commissioners in the Tri-County area that had brought that up. But I thought it was a great meeting. I always enjoy that meeting. So thank you to everybody that worked on it. And we missed you.
Thank you. Yes, but I'll explain
But
why
I
later.
can't wait to hear why.
Commissioner Flesser.
And one more time on the Tri-County meeting. I think it was an excellent meeting. It was very interesting that all of the counties attending did have a consistent pattern of agreement on the issues. It appeared that way on face value, with the exception of the train, which was not discussed markedly. So I guess we stand alone on that, and we will prevail. Right, Counselor? Okay.
We'll do our best, sir.
The other thing is that we had a very busy weekend, Special Olympics, and thank you for attending. I ask my colleagues to mark the calendars next year. It was, again, I believe it was my 14th year. It's an exciting day. It's a very rewarding day, and that opening ceremony is absolutely incredible. And the intergenerational facility did an outstanding job. Our team does it right. They had golf tournaments over the weekend. They had other activities, events, and I'll tell you what, we have great resources. So, County Administrator, the team did very well across the board. It was overwhelming. So I was very proud to be in attendance of many of the activities that they delivered to us. So thank you.
Right, thank you, Commissioner. We do have a good team, and a great team, and I will pass that word along to them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, while it clearly broke my heart to miss a meeting with 14 other politicians, I did have a good reason for doing that. I got the great pleasure to go to the christening of the newest naval ship in the United States Navy, the USS Cincinnati, which is an LCS-20, Literal Combat Ship 20, 20th in the line. And it was a great couple days out in Gulfport, Mississippi. And fortunately for me, I got to take the long drive with my wife, Jackie, so that was a pleasure each moment for me. Up in Gulfport, it was a pretty amazing. You have the ship, which is an impressive ship, and a ceremony which is steeped in tradition. And there was a lot about this which I had no idea about before. For instance, I had no idea about the distinction between a christening and a commissioning. A christening is basically what we know about when the bottle of champagne goes across the bow. That had already happened sometime in the past. A commissioning is when the ship becomes an official part of the U.S. Navy. So it enters active naval service. And that's symbolized by a variety of things. For me, the two most noteworthy were the raising of the commissioning pennant and the flag of the United States. And when the crew of the goes onto the ship and the ship becomes alive. And that was something. And interestingly, one of the side things about this is that each original crew member becomes a plank owner. And this goes back to when we had wooden ships. When a ship was commissioned, it was built with various planks, and each original crew member back then, when the ship was decommissioned, was able to take a plank off the ship and bring it home with them. I also found out how closely tied the ship's crew is to the members of a city if the ship is named after the city. And obviously this one, the U.S. Cincinnati, had strong ties to the city of Cincinnati. For instance, in various caps, the XO of the ship gave me this red one, and the red is actually meant to reflect the Cincinnati Reds baseball team. There was actually a beer named the U.S. Cincinnati by a local brewery. The cruise lunch, which was held on Friday, was actually shipped down from Cincinnati, and it was a great rib lunch. And that was actually, some of the people from Cincinnati came down and served it to us. And of course, for me, one of the great things about the U.S. Cincinnati is that this town of Cincinnati was actually named after a great Roman soldier, Lucius Quintus Cincinnatus. And I would love to tell you more about him, but I'll just leave you to reading Plutarch for that. Just two factoids about the ship. It has a total horsepower of 84,000 horses, and it goes 40-plus knots. And I mentioned before that this was a littoral combat ship 20, so the 20th ship of its type. The different littoral combat ships have different specialities. This one is in mine detection and mine neutralization. So probably for me, the most meaningful thing was with all the nonsense that happens in Tallahassee and then even more in Washington, D.C., where everybody's fighting and it seems to be just like things are falling apart. To see a crew like that get together and do the work they do and know that they're actually out there protecting us, to me, is a great thing. And you also know that because this is actually a family event too, and you see the families of these crew members, including the friend I went to visit, and you understand the sacrifices they make. For instance, the XO of the ship, who was my friend, Commander Rush, had been based out recently in Rhode Island. Well, this ship is now going to be based in San Diego. So while he's working on the commissioning of the ship, his wife is selling the house in Rhode Island, has got the 9-year-old son and 4-year-old daughter back to schools, 2 new schools in San Diego. And right now, my friend is on the ship, headed towards San Diego, while his wife and family are doing everything else they need to do to make the move to California. And one poignant moment was when somebody asked the 9-year-old son, well, how's it going? And he says, well, it's okay, I'm making the transition. And this is clearly something that he had done more than once before. So those sacrifices are very meaningful. And for Jackie and I mean, we just thought this was a great experience. So, USS Cincinnati out there protecting all of us in America. And with that, we'll move on to special districts and boards. Solid Waste Disposal District, we have the minutes of the meetings of June 18th, July 2nd, and July 9th.
Move approval, all three.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Flesher, seconded by Commissioner Adams. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 4-0. Commissioner O'Brien dissenting. Move on to biosolids agreement. Excuse me, Commissioner O'Brien absent.
Absent.
He didn't speak up. I mean, usually he corrects me.
Why, you didn't like that?
I don't know. I'll talk to him later. But about nothing we're going to vote on. Biosolids agreement between Solid Waste Disposal District and the City of Vero Beach. Mr. Burke. Good morning.
For the record, Vincent Burke, Director of Utility Services. The City of Vero Beach has reached out to the county to enter into an agreement The term is about 2 years, if approved by the board today, for the disposal of their biosolids created at their domestic wastewater treatment plant. So I believe they had an agreement with Okeechobee. They had been dewatering the material at their BCR facility on site and then trucking it to Okeechobee. And talking to Mr. Bolton, Okeechobee was looking for a 3-year extension agreement that they did not want to enter into agreement with. So we've been working with SWID staff and with our staff to make sure that the material that's brought over to the facility does not contain any hazardous materials or any metals that would cause issue with our DEP permit for the facility. So they provided some testing to us back in March of this year. We looked at that testing and were satisfied according to Section 5 of the agreement with respect to the material quality. And it's about 2,600 tons per year that would be brought up to the facility. So staff is asking for board approval to enter into a 2-year agreement if approved today with the City of Vero Beach. Certainly available for any questions the board may have.
Any questions for Mr. Burke? Anybody in the audience wish to comment on this? There being none, be happy to. We have a motion from Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Zork. Any other comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Commissioner O'Brien absent. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.